Gamer here, and I'm back with another episode. They've killed it off, but now it's time to resuscitate another Ubisoft classic IP. Before Assassin's Creed, there was Prince of Persia. Now in this video, I'm going to break it down into three categories. That's going to be original series, Sands of Time series, and all of the reboots that got revived. First to enter the Prince of Persia realm is this beauty, and this is the first ever Prince of Persia for the Super Famicom, otherwise known as the Super Nintendo. I always prefer the Japanese boxes back then all the way up until now. They just seem to have the much better cover art. Just check out the artwork on this. Looks absolutely outstanding. Now, first released originally on the Apple II in 1989 and later transported to the Super Famicom in 1992. Masaya, hope I didn't butcher his name, were the developers. So Masaya were the developers and the untouchable Ubisoft were the publishers. And it's still killing me right up until this day that I'm still searching for the manual. Next in the original series is the sequel, Prince of Persia 2, The Shadow and the Flame, which only came out on the English and the American Super Nintendo, which I found very weird that they chose not to release it on the Super Famicom, aka the Japanese Super Nintendo. It also came out on the MS-DOS in 93, Mac OS and FM Towns in 94, and it was ported over to the Super Nintendo in 1996, which was a whopping 3 years later after the original launch. And Broderbund was the developers, and Broderbund and Ubisoft was the publishers. Last to arrive in the original series was Prince of Persia 3D, which was known as Prince of Persia Arabian Nights on some other platforms. But this big box version goes by the title of Prince of Persia 3D. This artwork just looks remarkable and will certainly go down in the gaming history books. I still got mine wrapped up in cellophane, so this is simply for display purposes only, and it was released on Windows in 1999, then ported to the Dreamcast in 2000 and went by the name of Prince of Persia Arabian Nights. And I have to tell you, the Dreamcast version cost a fortune. Now, the one I got was developed by Mindscape, and Red Orb Entertainment were the publishers. And Avalanche Software developed the Dreamcast version, and Mattel Interactive was the Dreamcast publishers. Now at this point, no more sequels are being made for the original series. So after the original series, the Sands of Time series were born, and the first game to enter was this masterpiece. I do own the Xbox as well as the PlayStation. Now Prince of Persia Sands of Time was released on the Game Boy Advance, then it became available on the PS2 November 2003, then released on the GameCube, Xbox and Windows a couple months later. And there's even a mobile version for this game round about now, I believe. I can't open this up because, as you see, I have a sealed copy, and it does have the PlayStation 2 strip ribbon going around the case. So that's where you know it's a genuine product here. Now, Ubisoft took full control of the series because at this time it was developed and published by Ubisoft. So next in the Sands of Time series was Prince of Persia Warrior Within, and this was rated 10 out of 10. Developed by Ubisoft Montreal, and Ubisoft were the publishers, released in 2004. It was available on the GameCube, Windows, PSP, and there was a mobile phone version, and also it was released. Now this was the second installment in the Sands of Time series, and the 5th installment overall. And you'll be happy to know I have all of his paperwork fresh in the box. Then the follow-up game was titled Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones, which I also have a original Xbox copy, and they are both blessed with a bright, colourful manual inside. I think every game in my Prince of Persia collection comes with the manual at least, which is always nice to have. Right, Ubisoft Montreal and Ubisoft Casablanca teamed up to develop this sequel, and it is the 6th installment in the Prince of Persia series, and Ubisoft were the publishers as normal, and it was released in 2005 for a plethora of other platforms, which was GameCube, Windows, mobile, PSP, PS3, Wii, and the Mac OS. So it released on nearly every device that was out at the time. Prince of Persia, The Two Thrones. Also, in that same year, Ubisoft Montreal turned their attention to a turn-based exclusive for the Nintendo DS, which is this little gem I have in my hand here, Battles of Prince of Persia. And it's always nice to have all of its documentations present, because manuals have gone extinct in the gaming community these days. This was published by Ubisoft as per usual in 2005. This surprised me. A port was designed for the BlackBerry and iOS phone a few years later. Last in the Sands of Time series was Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands. No more Montreal, just Ubisoft were the developers and the publishers. And this was the 8th installment in the Prince of Persia series, and it was released in 2010 with this lovely heroic cover art. The manuals were there, but they were getting slimmer by the year compared to the PS2 and the original Xbox. But at least they were still on the production line. And I only have the PS3 copy, but it was also released on mobile, Nintendo DS, PSP, web browser, Xbox 360 and Windows. PS2 and the original Xbox were out the picture by this stage. So this is the Prince of Persia, The Forgotten Sands. Now this is the Prince of Persia reboot. I have a PS3 version and a Xbox 360 version. For the 360, I also have a promotional copy. You can always identify the promotional copy by this bright yellow strip on the front. See it plastered across there, and inside it will have printed promotional copy. And on the original cover art, it's always bright, rich colouring on the front, unlike the promotional cover art, which looks washed out and seems to be faded massively. All of these labels on the promotional copy just make the case look very ugly. The original is untouchable, and this is the best version of the game to own if you want to collect it sealed like I have. Both of these are sealed, as you can see there. We have the traditional Xbox barcode. As you see, the barcodes are stuck in the correct positioning on the cases. Now, even the disc on the promotional copy are completely different. There's no colour on them, I think they're in black and white. Anyway, no need to break the seal on these because I have it for the PS3. The artwork on the front are pretty much identical to the Xbox, and we do have all of its paperwork present, which is always a bonus to have as a collector. But the manuals were getting slimmer by the second back then. They were putting hardly any effort into it. But yeah, this is the Prince of Persia reboot, and I think it's a reboot of the very first Prince of Persia. But for me, in my opinion, this game was the best in the series that I've experienced. I haven't played them all, I must admit, but what I played so far, this game is the best for the art style, the gameplay, and in this game, I think Elika, or Elika, I don't know how you pronounce the name, is your saving grace. She will save you in your darkest hours. And this was released in 2008, developed by Ubisoft, and they were also the publishers. Also released in 2008 was Prince of Persia Fallen King, which was a spin-off to Prince of Persia. So for some reason in the Prince of Persia series, they classify this as a reboot. Ubisoft Casablanca were the developers and none other than Ubisoft were the publishers. And this was exclusive to the Nintendo DS, and you'll be pleased to know manuals are included. So before Assassin's Creed, Prince of Persia was Ubisoft's golden IP. Let's hope Ubisoft's next Prince of Persia project will be just as great as all of the others. Okay guys, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Even better, subscribe. Till next time, see ya.